Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So today, inshallah, I'm going to be talking about marriage and getting married overseas, because this is a topic that I'm constantly asked about. I constantly have to give advice on. And, hopefully that this video, it basically gives all the information and all the advice that I would give in all these different situations. So if a person were to ask me again, I could just go back to the video and watch the video, and I don't have to keep going into detail every single time somebody asks me about this question. All right, so because obviously a lot of people, growing up and living in America, you want to go and you want to live in a Muslim country, you want to get married from a Muslim country, you want to have a Muslim wife that grew up in a Muslim country, because obviously with a lot of the drama that comes with getting married in America, a lot of people now, they don't want to get married here, and and I don't blame them. Allah musta'an. I mean, even me as when I was young, I refused. America was the last place that I ever wanted to get married. I would rather just stay not married than to get married in America, Allah musta'an, or at least to get married from a Western woman, period, whether it's in America, Britain, or wherever. It would be more preferable for me to just stay unmarried. So I can understand where that sentiment, comes from, and especially with a lot of the brothers where they want to go overseas and get married overseas. But there's also a lot that comes with that. And this is what I want the people to understand throughout this video. So, I mean, all of this is going to be just basically pieces of advice, because my experience was in Yemen. I don't have experience in Egypt. I don't have experience in Morocco. I don't have experience in like Malaysia, Indonesia, or any of these countries. My experience is solely in Yemen. So I can only speak in detail about Yemen, but I can speak in a general way that, and inshallah, the advice that will be, pertain to getting married in any of these countries, whether it's Mauritania, Morocco, Algeria, wherever you go, that you can get married, and you could take this advice. And this is like, inshallah, hopefully the advice will be suitable for people in any of these situations, inshallah, in any country, because it's just marriage in a Muslim country. So the first thing, the first piece of advice is just live in the country. Don't go there like on a tourist visa to get married. And go there and live in the country. I would never advise a person to get married from a country until they have at least lived in that country for 2 years. And if anybody is willing to marry their daughter to you, and you've only been in the country for a month or less than a month, or maybe you haven't even been in the country yet, and they're willing to marry their daughter to you, that's not a family that you want to get married from. That's a family that they're in the business, and they want to get their daughter married to a Westerner so that she can start bringing over family members to America or to Britain or wherever you're from. That type of nonsense, no, because any man that is very, very strict with his family would never ever marry his daughter to a guy that he doesn't know. Never, and especially a religious family. The religious family, they want to know who you are, what you've studied, what type of person you are. They want to see you in the masjid. They want to see you, they just want to see you being religious. They want to see that from you. So they're not just going to marry you just like, here you go, take my daughter, ala barakatullah. No, that's not the way it's going to work. So anybody that does that, then they're just trying to get their daughter married so they can get her off their hands, or whatever, or maybe there's other underlying situations that you probably don't even want to know about. So that's number one. Go there, live in the country, and I wouldn't accept any marriage where somebody just knows you for like a month and now he's ready to marry you, his daughter, or less than a month. I mean, really less than 2 years. Because I'm telling you, any type of real family that's real strict about their daughters and the family, they're gonna want to know you for a while, because you're a stranger. They can't just go around and just background check you in another country. So they're going to want to sit there and watch you for a while and see how you are, see how you do with other people, put you in different situations and see what type of person you are, before they marry you to their daughter, because that's a serious issue, So for them to marry their daughter to somebody they don't barely know, there's a question mark over any type of marriage like that, and you should be very wary about that, So Allah musta'an. So I would say at least live in the country for 2 years, and not just live there. Like, and this is a common mistake amongst a lot of the a lot of Westerners, not just Americans, is that, when you live in a country, you have this chance now to live in a different culture, different foods, different language. Everything, every way that they do things is going to be different, completely different. If you grew up in America and you go to like Yemen, you're not going to see anything that's going to remind you of America. You know, maybe you get some Yemenis that grew up in America and they open up a pizza place in Sana'a or something like that, which happened. And that might be the only thing that you're going to get that's going to remind you of America. But the customs and the culture of the people are completely, completely different. I mean, not even recognizable from American. And so don't go to like a country like Yemen or Morocco or Egypt. Oh, this is not the way we do it in America. Nobody cares about America. And you're in Yemen. You're in their country. Learn how they do things and start to do things the way that they do things. Because you're going to get married in their country. And then you can't sit there and expect your wife to do everything that American women do because you're American, because you're getting married in their country. So you have to understand that, there's, just be a little bit logical, because a lot of brothers, the marriages don't last because, she's Yemeni. Of course she's Yemeni. Where did you think you got married from? China? So the point is like you're getting married from that country. She grew up in that country. Those are the customs of that country. And especially if you're living in that country, then don't expect her to be cooking, marinated steak for you and, and knowing what you want for breakfast. She doesn't know. She's going to cook you shakshuka and beans. That's it. And for lunch, you're going to have chicken and rice. Khalas, maybe alsida, maybe fasa, maybe salta, whatever it is that she's going to cook because she's Yemeni or whatever country that you go to. So learn the customs of the people. Start acting like you're a part of that country. And stop acting like a foreigner. Stop walking around with a thobe and Nikes on. All right? Start wearing sandals. Start acting like the people. You understand? And you have to start to take on that culture. The biggest thing, wallahi, you could watch, if when we were in Yemen, we could see an American walking from like maybe 300 yards away. 300 yards away, we could see by the way that he's walking. American. Because nobody walks as arrogant as we do. Nobody acts as arrogant as we do. So you have to change that when you go overseas. All right, that might be acceptable here. This type of culture that we're raised up in, but you're gonna realize how stupid it looks when you get overseas. And this type of thing, wallahi, the first thing, because that right there is gonna destroy the marriage. You trying to push your culture. You're supposed to go and live in a Muslim country, and you should be happy to be in a Muslim culture. And accepting that culture as far as what's halal. I'm not saying like go to Yemen and start becoming mukhazzan and chewing cotton and all that. No, a'udhu billah. That's haram. But we're talking about taking on start eating the foods of the people. Start, and just, be around the people. Learn about the different tribes of the country. Learn about the different families. Know the family of the girl that you're getting married from and what level of society that this family's at. If you don't know this type of information, what are you getting married for? In that country. Go back to your own country and get married from there. Because you don't even know what you're getting married. And you don't know what type of family you're getting married into. You don't know about the tribes. You don't know about the culture. You don't know about the food. What are you getting married there for? Just to taste the flavor of Yemen? This type of, Allah Musta'an. And that's what people do. Unfortunately. And this is why Americans and not just Americans, but also you have this with a lot of the people from the Khalij. Wherever they go, they just want a wife from wherever they're at. And want to try all the flavors of the world. But they have no intentions of staying with the girl. These types of people, Allah yubarak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah yubarak fihim. Because wallahi, hum mufsiduna fil ard. They cause corruption in the land. And that's why in Yemen for a long period, and I'm pretty sure that the law is still exists today, especially in the north of Yemen. It's not permissible now. It's against the law to marry the daughter to a non-Yemeni. Only under certain circumstances. When I got married, the same issue happened. Because of all the people coming in and getting married and leaving their wives with a baby and going back to their country, and they tasted the flavor of Yemen. And that was it. That's all they wanted. So they go back to America or go back to Britain or go back to or go back to the Gulf countries. And they left the girl there pregnant, and then she has a baby with no support. So they passed a law in Yemen, like in the early 2000s, where you can't marry the girls whatsoever to a non-Yemeni. So even when I went to go get married, when we went to, my wife's brother went to go take the papers to the Jawazat, They took the papers and they threw it in the garbage because of people like this. So I mean, Allahumma musta'an, you know, go there, respect the people, respect the country. It's a Muslim country, a Muslim culture. There's a tribal country, tribal culture. Speaking about Yemen, and even other countries, as long as you're especially in an Arab country, you know, first off, learn the language. You're a Muslim, you should know Arabic. How are you going to go to a country, sit in the country, and you don't even learn the language? But especially Arabic, because you're a Muslim. And to learn the Arabic language is binding upon you. It's a wajib. You understand? This is not like something you have a choice in the matter, where this is like al-farad al-kifaya, where it's like, okay, if enough people learn the Arabic language, then saqata an al-akhirin. No. How are you going to understand the Quran and the Sunnah you don't know Arabic language? You're just talking about, I'm going to read translations. That's not going to work. So first off, you need to be studying the language. That's the most important thing. You don't go to the country and you don't know the language. And then while you live in the country, you also, again, learning the language, learning about the people, learning the history of the country. You want to get married from them. Be serious about the marriage. Learn about the tribes, learn about the culture, learn about the history. If you're a talib al-ilm, you want to study in Yemen, you learn about the ulama of Yemen. Who are the ulama from the past? Learn about the life of Imam al-Shawkani, Amir al-Sanani, and and Abdul Razak al-Sanani, and all the ulama that went before. And Ma'mar, and what happened when he came to Yemen, and they were afraid that he would leave Yemen, so they married him a Yemeni girl just to keep him in Yemen, and he became the Sheikh of Abdul Razak al-Sanani. Learn about these things. Learn about the history. Learn about the different tribes. Learn about the tribe of Hamdan and Bakil and Hashid and all the tribes that break off from them. So you got Hashid over here and Amran all the way to Sa'da. You got Bakil and Ma'rib and all the different tribes that break. Learn about the culture of the people. Don't just go there for tourism and just to taste the flavors of a country, marry their daughters and leave. And then khalas, once you've tasted the flavor. That's not what this is about. So if you're very serious, you go there, you stay there for a couple years, you start to learn who these families are, where you're getting, especially the girl herself, what family you get married from. And also you just want to, the main thing, again, and I will reiterate this point, is to sit with the people. You're in Yemen, sit with Yemenis. You want to sit with Americans, go back to America. All right, you're supposed to be there. You're supposed to, especially if you're trying to learn the Arabic language. Why are you trying to learn the Arabic language and you're sitting around a bunch of Americans speaking English all day? Sounds kind of stupid, doesn't it? But unfortunately, that's what probably, I would say, more than 80% of the Americans do. 80% of the Americans, they go to Medina University, they go to any of the universities in Saudi, they go to Yemen, they go to Egypt, and they sit around in tea shops drinking tea or coffee, speaking English all day long. But then they say that they're students of knowledge and they're there to speak, they're there to learn Arabic. If you're there to learn Arabic, speak Arabic and be around the Arabs. That's who you went to go be around them. Learn about the culture. You can go back to your own country and learn about that. Talk to your friends there. That's not what you're there for. Especially if you're there for the purpose of seeking knowledge, go there and seek knowledge. That's what you're there for, because anything could come up at any time. One of your family members, like your mother, your father, could get, really, really sick, and you have to go back to your country. And what are you going to do now if you wasted all your time sitting in tea shops with people talking English all the time? You learn nothing. And you go back and the people think, mashallah, he's back and now he's going to teach us. And you become a joke. So you want to go there and focus on your studies. Get away from the people. Find tulab al-ilm, like the students of knowledge that are from amongst that country that you're studying in, and be around them. Speak Arabic with them. And don't waste your time with your own people. And that's if you're seeking knowledge. If you're going there also for the purposes of marriage, you're going there to learn about the country itself. The Americans can't tell you anything about. You go and ask the average American in Yemen, he couldn't tell you anything about these families in Yemen. He couldn't tell you. Even brothers that I know that probably studied in Yemen for years, that are from America. You go up to them and say, all right, what are the 5 top families in Yemen? Because or the caste system, like the levels of society in Yemen. What are they? And who are the top and who are the second and who are the bottom and who are the very bottom? They can't tell you. The majority of the people can't tell you. Because they go there and they just in America we have this, in America we have this. Nobody cares about you in America when you're overseas. You go overseas, be overseas. Start acting like the people, start eating like the people. You're in Yemen, you start eating fahsa, start eating kebsa, start eating all that type of good stuff, and mendi, and be happy. And be happy and enjoy your time there. Be around the people, learn about the people, learn about the culture. Because wallahi, akhi, man, in America, come on, man. If you love America so much, why'd you leave it? Almost time. All right. The next piece of advice is focus on the family more than you focus on the girl. All right, and this is kind of hard concept for a lot of people that grow up in the West because everybody's just about physical attraction. Yeah, akhi, and this advice goes both ways. It's not just for the man. You can switch it around, and it's for the woman too. Because but I mean, generally, like I said, I'm not getting asked advice from women. So, but I'm just allowing, just letting you know, if there are sisters watching this video, that this advice can go both ways. But right now, I'm gonna focus on the men. Focus on the family more than you focus on the girl. If all you're trying to do is go after like physical attraction, some girl that just like attracts you. It looks like some girl from a music video or something like that. You're already messing up. You're already acting stupid. All right, you should be focused on one thing. You plan to have children with this woman. Then you need to look at the family. That's going to be, the type of environment that she was raised up in, and that way you can have an understanding of the environment that your children are going to be raised up in. If she is in a chaotic household, her father's chewing cotton, smoking, and he doesn't pray, and the brothers don't pray, and they're chewing cotton, smoking, and I'm like, again, I'm talking about Yemen, but you can, whatever bad behavior they have in other countries. If you see that type of behavior from the family, and the girl says, no, it's my family. I don't like my family. I don't care what she says. She is going to act in the environment that she grew up in. Regardless, she might love the deen, and she might love, everything that, that you say. Because most women are going to do that anyways because they want to get married. They want to get out of the house. But the thing is she's still a product of her environment. And because she spent the majority of her time in that house, in that environment, what do you think she's going to be like? She doesn't know anything else. So once you get her into the house and the acting stops, and then, 6 months and she can't act anymore and she becomes her natural self, how do you think she's going to be? She's going to be like that, what you saw with the family. So focus on the family. Focus on the environment that the girl was raised up in. Don't be in a rush just to get married because, whatever, because you have these desires and you just want to get rid of these desires. You got to think this is marriage. This is not going to a nightclub and picking a girl out and just enjoying your time with her and then dumping her when you're done. This is marriage. You're going to have a child from her. That child is going to be raised by her, be taught by her, the manners and everything from the child, and not just from her mother, from the child's uncles, which are the brothers, and the aunts, which are her sisters. Because if the child's being raised up in that country that you live in, the child is going to be around whose family the most? Yours, your family's in America or Britain or wherever you're at. That child's going to be around her family. So the same environment that you see, that's what the child is going to be influenced by. So don't be surprised if you get married from a family like this and your child is like 13 years old. Like, why do I have to pray? Nobody prays. Why do I have to pray? Don't be surprised. It's your fault. You didn't take the time to look at the family and look at the environment. And now the child is being raised up in that type of environment because you thought almost you weren't thinking with your mind. Let's just say that. So the point is like focus on the family. All right, if the woman's beautiful, that's fine. But if her family's garbage, leave it. Be patient and look for something else. Even if she appears and she puts on the best show of good manners and everybody's a liar on the day of like meeting. The man and the woman. Nobody tells the truth. The man wants to present himself as being this super righteous guy. How long can he keep that act up once they get married? And then the girl is trying to do the same thing. Don't believe all that. Look at the family. And look at what you see around her. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. If her family doesn't pray, then while you're married, there might be a time that she just, all of a sudden, she doesn't want to pray anymore. And you have to keep pushing her, and then you have all these headaches. Nah, leave that out. Leave the headaches. Go to something else. But, but the main thing is that you also have to be what you're looking for. Because a lot of men, they say, I want a righteous girl. I want a girl that's memorized the Quran, and you can't even recite Juz Amma. Ya akhi, ittaqillah. You're trying to get something that you yourself, you're not, You want a girl that's memorized the Quran, you memorize it first. You want a girl that's memorized Bukhari, you memorize it first. And then you can start putting those conditions. But if you haven't even memorized Juz Amma and you can't speak Arabic, you're lucky to get a woman that knows how to cook and boil water. So Allah musta'an, because you have no benefit to the Muslims, you haven't learned anything, but yet you want like a sheikha. Nah, you have to set the standard. So whatever you are, that's what you should look for. If you raised up in a good family and you know what being in a good family, an organized family is, and that's what you look for. You raise up on the streets, but now you want to get married to a princess. Come on, akhi. You got to be realistic. You got to be realistic. But you still, even people that were raised up in bad environments, they can still change themselves. But you have to change yourself first. And then you start to look for that thing that that you now become. Now you can ask for those types of things. But if you don't have it, don't ask for it. All right. So also, like I said, I mentioned this thing, don't be in a rush. Like I said, anybody that would be in a rush anyways to marry their daughter is not the family that you want to get married from. Aslan, And then another main point that I want to say is that, before you get married, before you even think about going to a country and get married, the first thing that you should do before you even leave your country of origin is to find out the laws about getting married in that country. If you know somebody in that country, call them up, text message, whatever, like message them on WhatsApp, whatever. Find out about the laws in the country and what papers you're going to need before you even leave your country. Everything that you're going to need. Because if you're going to stay in the country and you have a child overseas, you need to understand that you're going to have 5 years evidence that you lived in America for 5 years. So take get your high school transcripts and all your school transcripts, just get them and take them with you. Take all the paperwork that you're going to need, your birth certificate, social security card, whatever. To get all your papers that you're going to need over there to do all the paperwork, not just for the marriage, but also at the embassy if you have a child. Because you're going to have to go, if you have a child overseas, you're going to have to get a consular report of birth abroad. And they're going to ask you for 5 years of 5 years proof that you lived in America. Well, what are you going to do now if you can't, show this proof? So think about this beforehand. Think about all the stuff that you're going to need and prepare ahead. And the main thing is to make sure that you understand the laws of the country. Like for example, like maybe if you're on a visitor visa, they're not going to allow you to get married. You have to be on a specific type of visa. Whatever the case may be, know those laws and find out the laws of the country before you even go, before you even start going from house to house and looking at this girl and that girl and talking to this father and making agreements with all the people. And then you find out later that because of the laws, you can't even marry the girl in the first place. Or you have to go back to your country and come back. And whatever the case may be, just make sure that you understand the laws of the country. You need to make sure that it's even allowed to get married into the country, because sometimes it might be allowed as far as the law is concerned. But then as far as the people are concerned, they might not allow certain people to marry their daughters because you're not from a tribe. You're not you're not somebody important. And if you want to get married from a good family, again, like I said, good families, they don't play games when it comes to marrying their daughters. So you have to be, either one, you have to be somebody that's very, very religious. They see you as a strong student and it's a religious family. Or two, you have to have some type of importance for them to marry their daughter to somebody outside of their tribe. And that's just the reality. And like I said, you got to understand the culture of the people that you're getting married to. So I'm going to keep going back to that because it's very, very important. Because the majority of the mistakes that people make, they think, oh, just because, you're American, that people are supposed to change the rules for you. And this is not Hollywood, akhi. This is real life. People don't care about you being American. You go in Yemen and act stupid in Yemen, you'll get an AK-47 bullet in you just as fast as anybody else. They don't care about you being American. Go look and see how many Americans were killed in Yemen. Find out if they really care. Most people, they don't care. They'll tolerate so much for so long, but they won't tolerate it too much. They might have a little bit more tolerance with you because, okay, maybe, you didn't grow up Muslim or whatever. But in reality, that tolerance is going to run out sooner or later. And you're not going to want to face those consequences because you're dealing with, you're in somebody else's country. Don't think the American embassy is just going to jump up and come to your assistance because, Now you're locked up in a secret jail somewhere, or you got buried out in the desert. Nah, I mean, you got to know what you're going into. You got to know the country that you're going into, the rules, the customs, and everything. You do not go overseas and start offending people because of your bad behavior. And then also because of your bad behavior, you cause problems for the other brothers that don't have that bad behavior, that want to go to that country and get married, but now they can't get married because you set a bad standard. Because trust me, if one person from America goes to Yemen or goes to Egypt or goes to any of these countries, acts very stupid, they're going to say, don't marry your daughters to the Americans because this is how they act. And that happens. And that happens. So you have to understand, it's not just you that you're thinking about. You set the reputation for everybody that comes after you, everybody around you. And you can't do that. You can't act stupid. Know the laws, know the customs, know everything, and just live in the country. Live in the country like you are from the country. You understand? And just try to be, I would say one with the people, but I'm just saying, like if you're amongst the people, just like they couldn't tell the difference. They couldn't tell that you're American. Be that person. Speak the language, learn the culture, learn the history. Go and read the history of the country that you're living in. And take this seriously. This is not like like I said, this is not something that you just go over just to try the flavors of a country. You're going over there with the serious intention of getting married, of raising a family, and be serious. And especially if you claim to be Salafi, so that means obviously you're supposed to be going over there for seeking knowledge. So you should be serious. And that should be your intentions, and you should be setting examples for the people. So when they see you, and they see you in the masjid, and they see you in the durus, and they see how you are, they'll want to help you to get married because they see what type of person you are. You understand? And then especially when you're mixing amongst the people, that's how you get to know the people. So just be that person. Don't be that person that stands up 300 meters away and you can like, he's definitely from America. Allahu musta'an. So inshallah, that's the main part of the advice. That's from what I can, if I left something out, like any major things, inshallah, you guys, inshallah, you can put it in the comments. And if there's a need, we can make a part 2 for this video. But I think that's the main gist of what people need to understand when they're getting married. Not to be in a rush, get to know the families, what the families are, what's a good family, what's a bad family. Look at the family. Don't focus on the girl. Focus on the family. You're getting married to the family. You're not getting married to the girl. Remember that. وإلى هنا سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.